All right, hello to anyone watching us later on. This is our game of Mission Accomplished by Jeff Stormer, and we are playing a slight twist on this game. The concept of this game is that our players are a group of top secret spies, black op agents who have just come back from a mission where they have saved the world, but various irregularities occurred. Some things didn't go quite according to plan, and so Mission Control has brought them in for a meeting to debrief them, find out what really went on, figure out who screwed up and who deserves praise. And we are adding the twist that all of our secret agents are cats. And I see we have a suggestion that our organization is the Catastrophe Anti-Terrorism Neutralization, Interference, and Prevention, aka CATNIP. So we are a group working for CATNIP who has just saved the world. So the first thing that we have to decide is what was the primary objective of the mission you were just on? And so keep in mind, this primary objective was accomplished. You did manage to do this and thereby save the world. So what was, and anybody can throw out an idea here and we'll kind of workshop it till we get something we all like. What was your objective on this mission?
I was going to suggest something in infiltration, but
Okay.
we had to infiltrate another company or country.
Okay.
Stop
like
something nefarious.
People have ideas.
I think a foreign embassy.
Okay. And what was your goal? What did you have to accomplish once you had infiltrated them? Were you like stealing secret plans or sabotaging or?
I like the idea of like deleting videotape evidence of the dog team that they'd sent in previous to us.
Oh, okay. So you were cleaning up another team's mess.
Yeah, I mean, you need the pros to do stuff like this, right?
Okay.
That's why you send in the cats.
All right. Is everybody else cool with that as your objective?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think dogs are very enthusiastic, but they're not always the most subtle, as we all know.
Okay. So you had to delete the video evidence of the dog team's mission. And so who was it that you were infiltrating? Who had this this video evidence on the dog team?
Could it be like the Veterinarians Association or something?
I see some laughs, so I feel like that's good. Okay, so
Maybe the vets were concerned about the organization that we're a part of, thinking that the humans were abusing the animals or something. I don't know. And then the dogs had to go do something.
It's a new tagging system that will actually prevent us from doing future missions.
Oh, that's good.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, humans think that we don't like going to the vet just because we're contrary. I mean, we know better than them. We know what the veterinarians are really up to.
Okay. So we've got our mission objective. And so next, each person needs to tell us, and you can go in any order as soon as you think of something, what is one thing that went wrong on this mission? And the things that can go wrong can be of any sort of scale, right? So just to give an example, in the last game we played with human agents, one of the things that went wrong was that someone left the rental car at the airport without checking it back in. And one of the other things that went wrong was that the team somehow swapped the locations of Cuba and Cyprus in the world. So it can be something huge or something tiny. Either one is great, or in between. So does anyone have any ideas? Each person should give one idea of something that went wrong on this mission.
What if one of the vets came back to the office and saw us not acting like cats?
Okay, so you got seen by one of the vets.
We accidentally activated the sprinkler system, and several of us got wet.
Okay.
I want to be the getaway driver, and I got pulled over on my way there for speeding.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like an uncontrolled fire, that like an unlikely uncontrolled fire. Does anybody have
Yeah.
like a suggestion or?
And I mean, we could just put it down as uncontrolled fire, and part of what we figure out is what exactly happened and who caused it and so forth.
Yeah, and I'd say like an unintentional, unintentional fire, out of control fire.
Okay.
I got distracted by like some kind of cat toy or like catnip or something that distracts cats.
Okay.
I could see there have been set up to throw us off, like several countertops covered with like glasses of things that shouldn't be spilled, other
aluminum
like
foil.
things hanging down that we could like they set them up just to distract us.
Mm-hmm.
We all know a good cat cannot resist a glass
Absolutely.
put on the edge of the counter.
Definitely. Okay, so I've got 5 problems here. So I think we have one more person that hasn't suggested one. But if not, that's probably plenty to go on. So next thing we have to do is figure out who all of you are. So I see some of you have started to fill out your character blocks there. So you need your character's name, pronouns. Your specialty is kind of your special skill or talent that you were chosen for this job for. Then your fun fact. For that, think of doing like an awkward company icebreaker where you have to share one fun fact about yourself. And then team contribution, that is one thing that you did on this mission to help achieve the objective. So I'll give everybody a few minutes if you want to fill those things out. Don't worry about commendation and citation yet. Those will come up later.
I feel like I may have gone overboard based on other people's contributions here.
So while you're finishing up that, let me just give you a quick rundown on how the actual gameplay will go. So once everybody's got their stuff there, we'll introduce our agents. Then you'll also have a chance to anonymously supply Mission Control with some information about the performance of your fellow agents. Then we'll take a short break for Mission Control to kind of digest that information. Then we'll come back. And so it'll be conducted basically like an office meeting. And so I will ask you questions about what happened, demand that you account for things that happened on the mission, and you'll have to justify yourself. And you'll try to make yourself look good. You'll try to cast aspersions on your fellow agents and suggest that they were at fault for the things that went wrong. And during this, if at any point I decide that you are upholding one of the 7 principles of highly effective special ops agents, which you should have a copy of that in that folder. If I feel like you're upholding those principles, I will give you a commendation, and I'll just note that. So next to commendation, I'll add 1 to the number that'll be there. If I feel like you have gone against those principles, I will give you a citation. And my job is to be just the worst jerk of an administrator you've ever met. So I will hand out commendations and citations capriciously and arbitrarily. And you can fight with me about it and try to justify yourself, and maybe I'll give you more commendations or more citations. If the meeting gets out of control and everybody's shouting at each other and I need to bring us all back on point, then I will put 1 next to where it says anarchy. So that's essentially a citation against everyone if things get really wild. Then at the end of the game, you'll be rolling dice based on the commendations and citations that you got to try to see who comes out of this looking the best and gets promoted to the sweet corner office and who does not. So it's a pretty light rules in terms of game mechanics. So the key thing is just treat this as the worst office meeting that you've ever had and try to get your fellow agents in trouble. So, okay, so it looks like folks have got some stuff there. So why don't we go around and introduce our agents? I'll just go in the order that you're in the character keeper. So let's hear about Meow-na Lisa.
Yes, Meow-na Lisa is a trained aviator, and she can pilot drones, large birds, gliders, basically anything that flies. And she was actually the original model for Mewtwo before they redesigned the character to be less scary. I don't know what they mean by that.
Hey.
And should I do the team contribution as well? Yeah. And my contribution on this mission was that I intercepted a carrier pigeon carrying a valuable micro SD card.
Okay, very good. And Maximilian Fabricius, tell us about yourself. Maximilian, can you introduce yourself?
Looks like he's maybe muted and or frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks frozen.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. He's moving, but still muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just had to unmute. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I was reading the chat.
Okay. Okay.
I am Maximilian Fabricius. He, him, they, them. I am a world-class race driver and pilot. I use VR technology to drive human cars and planes to get us around faster. And I, of course, pick out the fastest thing I can find every time to acquire. And I got us there and back safely.
Okay. Sounds good. And next, we've got Binks.
It's me. I am Binks. I am also known as the Nox Prowler. And my specialty is cat burglary, or B&E, for the humans. And my fun fact is I am a flea trainer and used to perform in the circus with my fleas, who accompany me on missions to help out sometimes. And I was, my contribution is I was able to get the doors unlocked so we could enter the veterinary offices.
All right. Excellent. Next, we have Paulo the Perfect Prowler.
Yes, hello, I am Paolo, the Perfect Prowler. I'm an undercover op who is, as most cats are, but I like to think I epitomize these traits, charming and mysterious and quietly disdainful of most things, as we all are. I am also good at batting, which occasionally comes in handy. My fun fact is that there's a slight curve at the tip of my tail. It comes from a non-mission adventure. If you'd like to know, maybe we can get a drink sometime, a little catnip cocktail. I'll tell you the story. Very exciting, I promise. My contribution to the team on this last mission was charming variety of people that we needed to get past or get info from. I'm very good at the leg weave, tail, curvy thing. I've got the humans figured out pretty well, so, you know, we do what we have to.
Excellent. Okay. And next we have Winnie.
Hey guys, my name's Winifred, she, her. Some of my friends call me Winnie, so that means some of you can call me Winnie. My specialty, of course, is if you want to open a door that is closing inward, you're going to need legs like these, and she's got long legs. Yeah, I'm mostly stealth and reconnaissance, and this might be my last job. I'm going to, as many of you know, I was born in a woodpile at Arona, and I'm hoping to buy that Rona after this job.
Okay. And your contribution?
Oh, I was able to hack the mainframe.
Okay. And last but not least, Gilly.
So I'm a total rookie to the spy game. I'm like a juvenile type cat that's growing into her legs. Fun fact is I'm polydactyl, so on top of being like kind of gangly, I also have huge paws. My contribution is that I distract humans by being irresistibly cute. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have a charming thing, but maybe I'm cute in a very like stray cat kind of way.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So the last thing that we need to do before the meeting begins is that each of you is going to make 2 anonymous comments about other agents here. One of those will be a compliment. So you will tell Mission Control something good that one of your fellow agents did during the mission. And one of those will be a criticism. You will tell Mission Control something that you think one of your fellow agents screwed up during the mission. And those, again, just like the general problems with the mission, those can be very minor things like a dress code violation, or those could be big things that nearly sank the whole plan. And so these are these are submitted in advance of the meeting, and so I think the easiest way to do that would be for each of you to just reply to the email that I sent you. So just reply directly to me, not a reply all to everyone, because this is something that's going just to mission control. And so you're going to pick one of your fellow agents to say something good about what they did on the mission, and then you're going to pick one other of your fellow agents to tell me something that they did bad on this mission. So I will give everyone a few minutes to do that. So again, just reply directly to me from the emails that I sent out to send me your pieces of feedback in advance of our debriefing meeting. And as you're doing that, definitely check over that safety tab with the lines and veils. Don't accuse someone or compliment someone about something that we've got a line or a veil on in our game. So I have gotten my reports from everyone. So we're going to take is 5 minutes good for everyone? Can stretch your legs, grab a drink or something. Okay, so I've got 42 after the hour showing on my clock. So I will see you back here at 47 after.
Sounds good.
All right, agents, welcome to this debriefing meeting. I know that Paulo is still using the litter box, but we need to get started because we've got a lot to cover. And there's a lot of different aspects of this mission that we need to examine. So the first thing that we need to talk about is actually what happened on the way back from your mission, because as I understand it, your getaway car got pulled over by the police. So I'm wondering if Maximilian, maybe you can tell me about exactly what happened there, because that really doesn't look good when our agents are getting pulled over by the cops. So can you tell me what happened there?
I know it doesn't make it much better, but it was on the way there, not on the way back.
Actually, no, that doesn't make it better at all. And so, what exactly did they pull you over for?
Speeding, of course.
Okay, and how fast were you going?
Well, about 160 and 120.
Okay, so I think that attracting the attention of the police there is definitely worth a citation for you. And so what did you say? Like, then this is a top secret mission. So I certainly hope when the police pulled you over and asked where you were going, you didn't tell them the nature of your mission. But I'm curious what exactly you did tell them.
Well, actually, you know Roger. He's got those IDs that he uses to get us around.
Okay.
Well, I managed to get a couple of extras, and I just used a fake ID so that they didn't know who we were.
Okay. And so did you file the paperwork to check those fake IDs out? We do need to keep good records of who's using which fake ID so that the the backstory on these fake personalities doesn't get too confused.
I'm gonna have to go with a no on that because Roger doesn't know I have it.
Oh, okay. So that is definitely that's a second citation for you, because we do need to get all that paperwork filed correctly, because
Sir,
otherwise somebody else could be using that fake ID.
I'm getting pulled over about 2 times a week, so I have to have something that gets me.
No, that's why we make the fake IDs available to our staff. But it is important that we keep track of who's using which fake ID. Okay.
But,
And
can I point something out?
Sure.
I mean, all the speedometer, it just has numbers on it. And
right.
I don't know about Maximilian, but I don't know what numbers mean. And if you could have like some emoji on it instead, that would like indicate visually when you're going too fast.
Okay. Do you have a particular image in mind, or does anyone else have an idea of what a suitable going too fast emoji for a cat might be?
A dog?
I think
A
maybe
dog.
maybe a picture of a litter box coming up. Winfred, you think you might be able to do something like that for me?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with them, and I mean the other thing that we're talking about as well is that Maximilian broke human laws. He didn't break a cat law. I don't know of any cat speeding laws.
That's true. There's no cat speeding laws. I'm going to give Lisa a commendation for good problem solving here with the the idea of using emojis instead of numbers on the vehicle. And incidentally, where was this vehicle obtained from?
That I filled out the paperwork for.
Okay.
From our lot. It just normally, that my microchips, they only work on certain vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
What if it
Normally,
was
they
obtained
wouldn't
from
have worked
animal
on the
control?
vehicle I was originally trying to get out. But Binks, she stepped up, and she was able to get me a little bit faster vehicle from our lot. All the proper paperwork was filled out.
Okay. Is that correct, Binks? That you got the vehicle set up?
Well, yeah, like I totally we just borrowed it from animal control.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I mean,
I just took the keys, stuff. Okay, it's fine.
right. Yeah. So
You put it back.
I'll give you a one commendation for that, though. I'll also note that speed is not necessarily the most important factor in choosing a vehicle, since, as we saw, the human police seem to be on patrol for speeding vehicles. And as cats, you should be aware of the value of stealth in addition to the value of speed on these missions.
But
Um,
it was a Tesla. They're the safest vehicle.
That's true. That's true. And I will give you a commendation for thinking about safety, because that is our first priority for our agents, is to maintain the safety. Okay, so that was one issue that cropped up. There's another one, and I see that Paulo has rejoined us just in time, because the next item on my agenda here is, Paulo, I understand that you brought this this toy mouse back from the mission. Were you aware that this toy mouse had a tracking device implanted in it?
No, obviously, if I had been, I would have brought a different toy mouse.
Okay. So
I
I'm wondering
wouldn't
if you
that
could.
our trap detection department, it would have been nice to get a heads up.
Well, they found it after you brought it back, and they were able to destroy it. But I'm concerned that you're not following proper protocol in advance for identifying possible tracking devices before you take the cat toys.
I mean, as I say every mission, I thought we all had specific departments we were in charge of, and detecting technological devices and traps and things is not my department. My department is to be charming and debonair, which I think I excel. So I apologize if I was unaware.
Did you specifically request for the toy to be examined for tracking devices?
I did not. I assumed that that they would be not tracking. Sorry, that they would be checking all of the things that we were encountering, as traps can be anywhere.
Right, but I think it's important, even if it's not your job specifically to check for the tracking device, it's important that you bring that up as an issue and get it checked at the first opportunity. So I'm going to have to issue a citation for potentially jeopardizing the location of our secret base by bringing a tracking device back in an uninspected cat toy.
I understand. I will learn and do better for next time. I will say on my end,
But shouldn't the equipment that we were sent there with have detected that in the first place?
Should it have? Who was in charge of
weren't we sent there
checking the
to
equipment?
destroy trackers?
You were sent to destroy video footage of the dog team's mission, which you did. And I want to make sure everybody knows that Mission Control deeply appreciates your success at the primary objective.
Maybe the
alive.
dog team left behind booby-trapped toys because they wanted to get back at us. Maybe they're onto us as their like cleanup team. I don't know how spy things work, but yeah.
That's quite an accusation to make against the dog team. Do you have any specific evidence that would implicate them in a situation like that? Because that's something that Mission Control would have to take very seriously if it was true, but we'd be very concerned about throwing around those kind of accusations without evidence to back it up.
I don't have specific evidence, just a hunch.
Okay, so for spreading rumors against other teams, I'm gonna have to give you a citation on that one. We'd really prefer that you have verified information before you start telling us about what other teams may or may not have done here. Okay, so then the next item that I want to get into, kind of springing off from that. So, you know, the tracking device in that one cat toy was certainly a significant concern, but in the broader picture, I understand that there were a number of cat toys involved in this mission that created something of a distraction, and it's not clear to me exactly who was involved in that part of the mission, but you all did receive training on avoiding cat toy distractions, and I'd like to hear about how that how the protocols broke down in this case. Where was it in the you know, there's a 5-step process to evaluating possible toys in order to determine if it's acceptable to play with them during a mission. And, you know, like I said, you've all been through the training. So where along the 5 steps did this break down?
Well, sir, I'd just like to say that I stayed in the vehicle, so I definitely wasn't.
I mean, I did my best to follow the steps. And when I saw that red dot, I knew that I had to catch it so that I could examine it, so that I could determine whether it was dangerous. And I wasn't able to catch it. It kept moving.
Lisa, that I remind you, that is not the protocol for red dots. The protocol for red dots is to remove yourself from the presence of the red dot, because we know that it has extreme powers to cloud the judgment of any cat. So I am going to have to give you a citation for not following red dot protocol there.
But that doesn't seem fair, because you just said that it clouded my judgment. So should I really receive a demerit when I was under the influence of a red dot?
You're receiving a demerit for not taking reasonable precautions to avoid having your judgment clouded.
If I can just step in for a second, I'm just wondering, you know, I know that we're trained for dealing with one red dot, but if I recall correctly, there's red dots everywhere. You know, I think this goes back to what Gilly was saying, is that, you know, I think there might be a double agent here. I think that this dog team either tipped somebody off or you know, we've got a double agent here.
So I'm going to ask you then the same question that I asked Gilly. Do you have any evidence besides just general suspicion that the dog team was responsible for this?
I do not know about the dog team, but there was an awful lot of kind of catnip just all over the place that really you wouldn't think would happen in a veterinary's office. It was just like on the floor.
You know, Binks, I heard from your flea minions that were spending some time doing some counter reconnaissance on the dogs, that they had been cooking something up. You know, that just came to me.
Oh, yes, the fleas, they do, yes, occasionally on the dogs. And they come back with some stories. I've been writing them off, but maybe it's not true. Maybe the fleas are onto something.
Now that I think of it,
hang
I
on.
do recall seeing a.
Before we go on, let me.
vehicle
I need to follow up on this issue with the fleas investigating the dogs. Do you have authorization from the dog team leader to send your fleas in?
Oh, I did not send them.
Okay, so I'm going to have to issue a citation for that because there are consent forms that need to be filled out before fleas move between one species area and another. So you should really get that filled out correctly there.
I tried to scold the fleas, but they're
Okay.
very small.
That is true. They are very small, but we need to take precautions
Of course.
either way. Okay, so going back, somebody was saying something about another car.
Yeah, I recall seeing a van pulling away just as the other agents were going in.
Okay, what kind of a van? Were there any noticeable markings, or did you see the driver?
Well, I would say it definitely could have matched the description of one of our vans, and I caught the first three numbers of the license plate, and they do match our fleet.
Okay, what were the first three letters on the plate?
CL7.
CL7. Okay, so let me look up real quick.
I mean, and I also noticed that there was a bumper sticker, "I brake for fire hydrants," so I think that might have been one of the vans that's assigned to the dog team.
No, you're right. CL7 is assigned to the dog team, and according to our records, should not have been anywhere near where your mission was taking place. So Maximilian, I will give you a commendation for bringing that to our attention, that there's at minimum unauthorized use of the dog team's van going on there. And Meow-ssion, I'll give you a commendation as well for noticing the bumper sticker on that. Okay, so that's important to know about possible issues with the dog team's van, but I want to come back to this distraction situation because now it sounds like there were a large number of toys, there were a large number of red dots, and a large amount of catnip. And so I understand that's a challenging situation to navigate, but it's also the kind of situation where there's some leadership and planning required, that if you're facing down a challenge of that magnitude, you need to have a clear plan of attack to avoid complications from arising. So what was the plan of attack when you observed this situation with the heightened distractions? What was the plan going into this for your team?
I'd like to speak up on behalf of the team actually here.
Okay, yeah.
I think that being sent into a vet's office, you have a certain set of expectations. And we were not informed that the vet's office had a, not really a gift shop, but a shopping area for pet owners with a whole display of cat toys and other enticing things. I'm not sure about the catnip on the floor and other things. It sounds like other people maybe have contacts that can shed some light on that. But whoever prepped this mission for us neglected to mention that this particular vet's office was more than just a traditional vet's office, and that we would be inundated upon arrival with distracting objects and other such things. I think we would have had a very clear plan of attack that would have been drafted before entering the building and then executed, I'm sure, very well by this excellent team.
Okay, Paulo, I just have to say, it sounds like you're just trying to make excuses, that you're trying to blame the briefing team for what was really a mistake by the field team. Because while it is important to get as useful and accurate a briefing as possible in advance, the fact is there are always unexpected complications, and a team needs to be prepared to deal with them when they encounter them during a mission. You can't simply put that off onto, oh, the briefing team didn't prepare us well enough. You have to be able to deal with the unexpected when you run into it.
At this point, a red dot appears before you on the table and starts moving.
Mission control twitches. Um,
It's weird how just a single red dot where you don't expect it can be just difficult to ignore, can't it? And it dances across your paw.
mhm.
I jump onto the table and I claw at Mission Control's paw.
Count Lisa, this is not
I
control yourself.
push you down and grab the dot myself. And so, Lisa, you're getting a citation for interfering with your superior's pursuit of the red dot.
I just thought I would point out that even very seasoned agents like yourself here in Mission Control, when faced with an unexpected red dot, may have trouble just continuing with what you're doing.
And sir, that was without the influence of catnip.
Yeah, so tell me more about the catnip situation at the vet's office. How was it found, and how did you all deal with it?
If you guys want me, I can do this one. So, we had every intention of complying with the company's drug and alcohol policy when entering this place. But, I don't know what kind of veterinarian office leaves shelves and boxes full of catnip just overflowing and all over the floor. I appreciate what you were saying to Paulo earlier. I can't just stop believing that we were set up in some way for this. I mean, why would we have to wade through catnip in order to get to our objective?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons that a veterinarian's office might have a large amount of catnip, in stock. And what I'm interested in is less in the excuses for the problems and more in hearing how you dealt with these problems.
I mean, clearly the catnip, it was all over the place and it had to be cleared away, so I just started rolling around in it.
Okay. And were you successful at clearing it by that method?
At least some of it.
At least some of it. Okay. Then a commendation for quick thinking in trying to clear some of the catnip from the room. See, this is what Mission Control is looking for, is to see our agents taking some initiative to deal with unexpected situations like this.
I mean, I can't say that the catnip I rolled up didn't affect my later reasoning, but it was what I had to do. I took one for the team.
Okay, taking one for the team is very important. Teamwork. Your mission succeeds or fails together, right? You're a team. You can't, one person can't accomplish the mission and another person fail at the same time. So teamwork is to be commended here.
So I think this deserves some kind of other commendation, teamwork and forward thinkingness, right? Unless I'm getting cited for giving myself a commendation. Yeah.
No, it's one thing. So it's one commendation. I think, unless you have other examples to share where you or perhaps one of your fellow agents showed some quick thinking during this mission. In that case, I'd be happy to hand out additional commendations.
Not for this particular action.
I know Winfred, he picked up pretty quick on it and used his drones to vacuum some of it up.
Oh, okay. That is also a good approach there. So I'll give Winifred also a commendation.
Right. But didn't the catnip clog up the motor and start a fire?
Oh, is that where the fire? Okay, I was going to get to the fire later, but let's skip ahead to the fire here. Okay, so I'm being told, Winifred, that your drones were the cause of the fire. Is that accurate?
That's a great question. I am using company issued drones. I'm not using my own, despite the fact that I've asked multiple times if I can use my own. I've been using the ones that we've been signing out every single time, and
Right.
unfortunately, when passing through a haze of like atomized, highly flammable catnip, sometimes these drones burst into flame, and
So Winifred, I'm going to have to issue you both a commendation and a citation here. So a commendation for your willingness to comply with the company technology policy. So I know, I understand we've had a number of conversations that you prefer to use your personal drones for missions like this. And, I've explained to you that there are reasons why we need to use only the ones that have been certified by our IT staff and fully integrated with our systems. And knowing that you and I don't see eye to eye on this, I do appreciate that you are nevertheless still following the policy and using the official company drones. So you do get a commendation for that, but I have to also give you a citation because the risk of a catnip fire occurring in the presence of that particular model of drone is something that was part of the safety training that you were required to do before being authorized to use those drones. So you really should have been on the lookout for a situation like that. And at least based on the information I have thus far, this fire seems to have been a preventable accident. So you're getting both a commendation and a citation in this case. So how
and
did
I agree. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I agree.
yeah.
But I think after this meeting, we need to have a talk about about perhaps OSHA standards for drones for out in the field to
Mhm.
just ensure that they're safe and they won't randomly start fires in veterinarians' offices.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're having a specific drone related debriefing, and you will be we'll be sending around a doodle poll so that you can join us for that meeting, since you've got some firsthand experience of what happens in the field with these drones.
I mean, I think a general meeting about standards in terms of safety going into meetings and equipment and other such things really is starting to, in my mind, be an obvious choice. We look at our 7 habits that we all try to emulate, right? With team spirit, efficiency, all of these things, right? And to me, team spirit and efficiency means that we've all got each other's backs, but also we all do our own jobs and trust each other to do those jobs. That's part of team spirit, right? I trust everyone on the team to be able to handle their things and not have to be checked by all the other members of the team. It's a large team. To check every single operation by every single other, it just would take too much time, and we don't have time on these missions. They're very complicated. At the same time, we want to have respect for authority and inventory management and fiscal responsibility, but we're given drones that can explode, and sure, there's going to be a meeting now, but that doesn't take back this fire that just happened. And perhaps the repeated entreaties by Winifred could have been heeded before this incident. And I'm just noticing this trend of yes, this thing went wrong that could have been preventable if somebody had given people the correct information or the correct equipment, but it didn't, so you all should have compensated. But if our mission really is about efficiency and all of these things, I think we should be nipping them in the bud more. And
so, Paulo, I'm going to give you a commendation for suggesting that we have another meeting and that we delve deeper into a sort of an exegesis of our 7 principles. I think that shows a real commitment to the organization. So you definitely deserve a commendation for that, and we will definitely get that meeting scheduled very soon, and hopefully it will clear up issues that may arise in future missions. But for right now, in this meeting, we do need to examine all the details of what happened during the current mission. So we've established that there was this fire in the catnip, and so once this fire began, how did the team handle this fire? Who did what to deal with the fire and prevent it from disrupting the remainder of the mission?
I think the sprinkler system became invoked at that time.
Okay, so this is how the sprinkler system
Yes.
happened.
Sprinklers came into play.
Okay, was that did you activate them yourself, or was this an automatic
It
system?
seemed to be fairly automatic and
Okay,
unpleasant.
okay,
And we had to go dive under the furniture to keep from getting overly wet.
okay. So diving under the furniture, that is definitely correct protocol for dealing with a unexpected downpour. So I will give you accommodation for following proper protocol in that situation. And so once the immediate threat of getting wet from the sprinkler system was dealt with, how is the mission able to resume? Because, well, so let me clarify, did this happen before or after you accessed the mainframe system?
Well, I think that would be our, wouldn't that be our techie person?
I mean,
Yeah.
in the end, I hacked the mainframe, so I mean, it kind of happened at the same time.
Okay.
You know, uh, you know, I know there might be some thought as to my ability to pilot flammable drones at the same time that I'm typing on a computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want you to know, like I've been an agent here for at least 1,000 days. So what, like 21 years, and dog years, that is. So I mean, it wasn't a lack of attention.
Hang on, Winnie, did you just measure your age or your tenure here in dog years?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what's in our manuals? I mean, this.
I mean,
I don't want to get into this again, but this is an organization that tends to send the dogs in first when they don't need to, and put things in dog years. And
I mean, the dog team measures things in dog years, but the cat team operates on a cat year system. So I'm going to have to give you a citation for improper use of measurement systems.
Okay.
But
But I would just like to say that I have never doubted Winifred's ability to hack into a mainframe while piloting drones that are on fire. I've always had complete confidence in their ability to do that.
That specific cat.
may I ask what situation caused you to consider the question of hacking a mainframe while piloting a drone on fire previous to this mission? Because it sounds like you have given this a lot of thought over a long period of time as to whether Winnie could hack a mainframe while piloting a drone on fire.
I mean, well,
Have there
I would
been
consider,
previous incidents that Mission Control is not aware of?
and not specifically while hacking a mainframe, but these drones do catch on fire an awful lot. Sometimes while I have been riding on them, and Winifred has always acted promptly and with great coolness under pressure.
Okay. Well, for securing the confidence of your fellow team members, Winnie, I will give you a accommodation for that, even though it's technically something that happened outside the framework of this specific mission. It seems like that contributed to the ability of the team to work together well on the mission. So I'll give you accommodation for that.
thank you.
So another topic that,
Sir?
oh, yes.
I just wanted to say that also, had Winnie had his own drones, he would have been able to competently pull that off without issue.
Okay, well, I think that's something that we can address at the drone meeting. That if we need to authorize different drone models, we can look into that on the basis of the experience we had with this particular mission.
Can we return briefly to the sprinkler situation? Because
Yeah.
I personally really do not enjoy being damp. I pride myself on the softness of my fur, the petability. It enables me to do my job. And the sprinkler system, I was more than dampened, I will tell you, both physically and in spirit. And, I'm still shaking that off, also literally and figuratively. And I would like, so everyone was doing their best, I'm sure, but I felt trapped. All of a sudden, I was in a room with water coming down everywhere. And I would assume that the trap detection specialist would have become aware upon our entering this room that there was the possibility that we would spring the trap of the sprinklers. And yet nothing was brought to our attention during this mission until we were all being soaked. I felt like it impaired several of us moving forward. As the person who or as the cat, I'm sorry, who sort of my primary objective is to make sure that if we encounter any humans, we charm them enough that they don't get in our way. It is much, much more difficult to do that while bedraggled.
That's true. Gilly, can you explain to me how the sprinkler trap was not brought to the team's attention in advance?
See, when we got into the vet's office, there were like all these things, like they were clearly stocking their toy aisles, and there were so many shiny things that caught my attention that weren't traps, right? And a little kitten can only focus on so much, right? I especially recall these round black circles. I think humans call them hair ties, and oh my goodness, they're my favorite. And those hair ties were so much more mesmerizing than the sprinkler system. So I kind of got carried away with like what I was trying to like plot how to loot hair ties rather than like doing my job.
Okay. Gilly, I appreciate your honesty about the situation, but then I do have to give you a citation for not following proper distraction protocol. And I understand that hair ties are a major distraction for many cats. So I'm going to actually recommend that when this meeting is over, there is an advanced anti-distraction training module on the company intranet that I'm going to put into your workflow for you to take in order to deal with a potential hair tie situation in the future, because we can't have our agents getting distracted like this during a mission when there are critical things happening and interfering with your ability to carry out your specific mission role there.
Does that mean I get to interact with more hair ties in the desensitization process?
Yes, there is a practical test at the end of the training module where you will be exposed to a large number of hair ties, but if you are found to be playing with more than, and I forget what the success threshold on that particular module is, then you will fail the module and be required to retake it, and you'll need to complete that before the next mission that you're assigned.
So if I retake it, I get to use hair ties again, right?
Correct.
Sounds great. Sign me up.
Okay, I'll like I said, I'll put that into your workflow for you to complete before your next mission. Okay. So another question that has come up has to do with the need to distract some of the humans during the mission, because what I am given to believe is that there was some lack of communication as to who would be adorable and distract the humans, because I realize that's a skill that most of our agents have worked on and have developed to at least some degree simply by virtue of being cats. But so because of that, it's actually extremely important that as a team you work out exactly whose responsibility it is to engage in distracting interference for any particular human target. So what was the procedure that was followed in this case? I understand there was at least one veterinarian that had to be distracted in the course of this mission. So what was the protocol
My
that
whole
was...
job is to be the person who does this, or the teammate who does this. There were multiple humans, and I was able to do my job in a couple of cases, but I did feel like some other cats. I don't feel like I don't want to throw any other teammates under the bus here, but
I mean, I'll remind you that throwing each other under the bus is kind of the point of the debriefing meeting. It is important to understand who made mistakes so that they can be properly reprimanded, and so that if necessary, additional policy can be developed to prevent problems in the future.
Although you're not supposed to throw teammates under an actual literal bus. I only made that mistake once, but that's a common rookie mistake. It's not encouraged by the agency. I just want to make that clear.
Yes, and thank you. Now, a commendation for clarifying the use of metaphor here. I know metaphor is something that sometimes is a little difficult for cats to grasp, so I appreciate that, beyond Elisa.
Because cats only understand meow-fours.
A commendation
they
for the
really
terrible
don't like
pun.
it when you're driving the bus.
This is true. Okay, so going back to the distraction question. Okay,
so there was at least one security guard that I felt my role on the team was usurped when someone else used their cuteness to distract them. And, you know, I don't know if that took away from other things that might have helped with other problematic elements of this mission, but my understanding was that, as on all missions, my job was to be the cat who charmed the humans. And while, of course, all of us are capable, being cats, of doing this simply by our nature, I have trained specially in multiple human distraction techniques. Everything from the disarming quiet mule and headbutt to the more annoying backing things off of counters. I have a whole arsenal of techniques. And usually on missions, that is left to me. And on this one, I felt like some other people named Gilly chose to step in. And that to me was not following the protocol as I understood it.
Okay, but you're not willing to name names as to who was usurping your role in your view?
I thought I just did. Gilly was.
Okay, in that case, you get a commendation for being willing to name names of other team members who you feel were not maintaining the highest standards of our organization. So Gilly, can you talk me through why you chose to step into the distraction role in this particular case?
Can we clarify, did this distraction happen before or after I cleared the field of catnip?
Well, that's a question for you. Did it happen before or after? I'm mission control.
I think the catnip kind of affects my memory and my recall of these events a little bit, but I think it happened after, and I think that there's something in our protocol which states that any agents that influence your behavior encountered in the field sort of excuse your lack of decorum in other acts. So what I'm saying is,
if you could cite the specific page number in the operations manual for that, that would be helpful.
Boy, God, I'm bad at repeating this. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
And I'd like to repeat my suggestion that we replace page numbers with emojis, because It's really hard to remember that.
And plus, I can only count to this much, and I show my polydactyl paws. So, I can only count to 12. So, probably somewhere in the first 12 pages.
Sir,
Okay. Yes.
I think I might be able to help with that.
Sure.
It's
yes.
really, it's part of citation. It's part of number 3, and the fact that Paulo always wants the role of being cute, and sometimes we need to give our rookies a chance to shine. And so, in the spirit of team, we need to not be selfish.
So
So
can I respond to that, please?
Yes. Please respond.
Yeah. So that is literally my only role on the team. If I just give it up to whoever else wants it, what's the point of bringing me along? Also, our rookies do in fact have specialties, and that's why we bring them along. Gilly's, I believe, is trap detection, so a trap such as sprinklers. And if they are choosing to take on other roles rather than their specialties, that leaves a gap in our team.
So I think the word choice is loaded there. Did I choose?
Hang on.
Or did
sorry.
I am going to have to give Maximilian a citation there because I appreciate the spirit behind wanting to bring in newer members of the team and give them opportunities, but you do need to clear something like that with your teammates before you do it. That can't be a unilateral decision, or else it creates these exact kind of problems where we have multiple agents trying to work on the same problem at the same time, while other tasks are not being carried out. But Gilly, it sounded like you had more to add here.
Never mind.
Okay.
I would point out that Gilly, after doing her job of clearing the catnip trap, she was very loose, right? She was very loose kitty, and I think that is when the incident with the human occurred. I do not know that she had control of her actions.
It would have been nice for me if some other teammates might have then stepped in to guide her away and let me do my job. Though the idea of having one person, one cat, one person, right, is that the person focuses on that one cat while the rest of the team is able to move. If the person sees a herd of cats unexpectedly, or even just a few, that might confuse them more. They get less into the zone of just petting and whatnot, right? So in the spirit of teamwork, I would have appreciated if Gilly was in fact too intoxicated to be able to exercise good judgment in that moment, for the rest of the team, or at least one or two other cats, to step in and herd her gently towards something else for a moment so that I could do my job.
But your own logic would be that more cats would come to get Gilly away, which would
Before
make
she got there.
human realize that there was even more of us to see.
Before she got to the human.
Well,
yeah, so I do need to kind of break in here because we're talking a lot about Gilly stepping outside of her role, and that's definitely an issue to consider. But I also have received information that Binks, you also stepped into the human distracting role specifically by sicking some of your fleas on some of the humans. And I was wondering if you could tell me more about how that went down, because that's not a authorized deployment of fleas under most circumstances.
Now, sir, I misunderstand. This human, they put their hands on me, and the fleas, they do not like getting wet either. So the fleas just kind of started leaping off me onto the human, and they were grabbing me. It was non-consensual.
Okay, so you were being grabbed by the human, when this happened. Okay, so this was a self-defense mechanism. This was not a okay.
Yeah, no.
So I will give you a commendation for acting in your own self-interest there to ensure that you're able to continue to contribute to the team. And since we're on the topic of fleas, aside from that, though, were your fleas involved in this mission in any other way?
Not really. They helped a little bit with the locking mechanisms of the doors because they are very small and they can get in there and use their weight to move the locking mechanisms around. And that is the only way. Then they like stayed on my person for the rest of the.
Okay, so just to check with our other agents, because I know there have been concerns in the past about your fleas going rogue and interfering with other agents. Did any other agents have any trouble during the mission with those fleas? Did they create a problem for anyone else?
You know, right before I started rolling around in the catnip, I felt a little uncharacteristic itch near the ruff of my neck, but I didn't check to see if they were fleas. You know, and I do have a good flea collar on, so maybe they weren't, but you can never know.
I mean, is there an alternative explanation for what that itch might have been?
Other than that, we were in a veterinary's office and there might have been like regular fleas.
Yeah,
To go
that's
near
true.
a flea collar is a death sentence for a flea.
It's true. Okay. So I can't give you a citation if we don't have concrete evidence, you know, or a direct observation of a flea problem. Anyone else have any issues with the fleas? And
You know, I just actually like to ask. You know, as far as I'm concerned, and Bings can correct me on this. She just said that you know a flea that gets near a flea collar is killed or eradicated. Are we to believe that perhaps somebody has created some sort of flea collar resistant flea? Like could it have been the dog team leaving those there, or I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, right? I'm just
yeah, I
spitballing.
mean that would be a pretty serious accusation if the dog team had developed flea collar resistant fleas and used them as a sort of booby trap. That would be a pretty serious concern. But like I said, we'd need some clear evidence to make an accusation of that sort.
I feel the need to count my fleas now and see if there's some extra stragglers.
Yeah, I'd actually appreciate that. We want to make sure that nothing was left behind at the scene that would potentially create evidence of what happened or put suspicion onto your team for the disappearance of the files. Okay, so let me take a look at some of the other information I have. Okay, so are there any other incidents that arose during the mission that you think need to be discussed while we have you all here? And these can be both positive or negative things. We just want to make sure that we hit everything before we wrap.
I mean, I appreciated Meow-Lisa's initiative in taking on the carrier pigeon situation personally.
Okay.
That SD card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what's on it. I assume it's classified, but I've been told that it's important, and it was a multi-part operation to apprehend the card, and with everything else that was going on, which I think has been made clear through this meeting, was quite chaotic.
Mhm.
I think that some credit is owed to Mona Lisa for keeping her cool and getting it done.
I mean, thank you. I mean, not many people appreciate the value of aerial combat in cat-related missions.
So you say combat. Could you elaborate on that? Because our carrier pigeons are not authorized for combat.
Well, this was not one of our carrier pigeons. This was one of their carrier pigeons. I mean, in combat, I'm referring to engaging the carrier pigeon in midair.
Okay, so you engaged it
Yes.
in midair.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and how did you accomplish that?
With a hot air balloon.
And where was this hot air balloon obtained?
It's standard issue. It was issued as part of the mission. We had it in the vehicle.
Okay. In that case, commendation to you for making good use of the equipment which you were issued.
And I would like to thank Maximilian for their assistance in getting the balloon inflated and launching me on a good trajectory.
Okay, I'll give a.
You're welcome. If it wasn't for your quick thinking and the fact that you went after it, I couldn't go after it. I had to stay in the vehicle for everyone else.
Okay, well, I will give a commendation to Maximilian for that help there as well. Okay, and I think we have covered all of the issues with the mission that I'm aware of. So again, last chance if anyone else has anything they want to bring up about what happened. All right. Okay, so breaking out of character just a bit here. So you've all been receiving commendations and citations as we went here. So I'm going to put a roll for your party link into the chat. So if everyone can go to that link, we've got a shared dice roller here. And so we'll do this. We'll take turns just so that we don't get too many dice going everywhere. So basically what you're going to do when it's your turn is you're going to roll dice equal to your commendations and equal to your citations. So I think there might be some folks with us that haven't used Roll for Your Party before. So the way it works, you type a number next to in one of the boxes next to a type of die and hit submit, and it will roll those for you. And so you can do your commendation where it says D6, so the box just before the D6, put how many commendations you have, and then put the citations in the next box where it says D6P. So that's the second one is D6s, but with pips instead of numerals on it. And so you'll roll your commendation and citation dice. Then you will get rid of any commendation die that has the same number as any of your citation dice. So basically a citation die that rolls a certain number cancels out all of the commendation dice with that same number. And then you'll take what's left of your commendation dice and kind of set them over to the side somewhere so that we can see your dice there. So I see somebody just rolled some stuff. Who was that?
Sorry, that was me.
Okay, that's all right. Why don't we just, you rolled the dice that you were supposed to do, so let's just start with you since they're on the table there. So it looks like you've got a a citation 6 that cancels out your commendation 6, so we'll get rid of those. Then your citation 4 stands. We'll get rid of the, or sorry, your commendation 4 stands, get rid of the citation 3 that didn't cancel anything out. So you're left with just a 4 as your final result there. So then let's go, since you rolled there, let's just go backwards through the character keeper. So Winnie, if you want to roll 3 of each type. Okay, so it looks like your citations, you got a 1, which clears out or cancels out one of your commendation ones, but then your other 2 don't cancel anything, so you're left with a pair of 6s as your remaining commendation dice. And then Paulo, you get to roll 2 of each.
Mute. That's the button I was looking for. Apologies. So the ones that are on the page are to me. Well, now they've disappeared. I'm just going to re-roll the page. Can I clear what's on the?
Sure. I'll make a note that we had that Gilly had a 4 and that Winnie had 2 6s.
Oh, I can do a new set if you want. They're like appearing in weird places and it's
okay.
confusing.
Yeah, if it's easier, just clear the room. I'm making notes of who had what.
Okay, and then
so you're rolling 2 of each.
D6s and then pips with pips, right?
Yeah, 2 regular D6, 2 with pips.
Okay.
All right, so you got a couple 4s on your citations. Those cancel out the 4 of your commendation, so you're left with a 1. Okay, then Binks, you'll roll 3 of the regular ones and 1 with the pips. Go ahead and clear the room so that we can easily see what you're rolling.
Did anything appear? Nothing showed up here.
No? I don't see anything. Did you hit the submit button?
Oh. Okay. Oh, an
Oops.
8.
Oh, yeah, you rolled a... Here, I'll
do it again.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Yeah. So it's the box before the die name.
Yeah. Oh, what happened again? Oh, the diet. Sorry, I'm really terrible at this.
That's all right.
4. Gotcha. Okay. Ta-da!
Okay, there we go. Okay, so that 4 on your citation cancels out your 4s on your commendation, so you are left with a 3 as your result. Okay, then Maximilian, you're going to roll 3 of each. Okay, oops. Came in the same color. So hang on, you had...
sorry.
That's all right. I'm just moving around the ones that I remember. Luckily, I remember what we had from the last time. So, okay, so these are your remaining ones. So, all right, so the 2s get canceled out, so you're left with a 3 and a 6. And Miana Lisa, you're rolling 4 commendations and 2 citations. Okay. let's see, the 4 gets canceled out, but you're left with a 3, a 5, and a 6. Okay, so I think on that basis that Winnie gets the promotion in this case. So Winnie, enjoy your corner office. Nice view of some birds outside and stuff. So
Oh man, I wanted to be the
that's
Jellicle Cat.
all right. So that's mission accomplished. So I'm gonna end the recording.